right now, America, it's time for your news by the numbers. There's no talking points. There's no talking heads. There's no smoking guns. Tonight, lovelies, it's you and I and the numbers. What's the next number, Rich?
All right, folks, tonight's number is 90,000. That is the number of people affected by Donald Trump's proposed travel ban. Now, Donald Trump is close, but he is not yet at the finish line for implementing this policy. There are still judicial challenges to go ahead with. There's red tape. But the bottom line is, if Donald Trump had it his way, he would be shutting down the borders. What do you think about this, Richard?
Well, it's interesting because at the beginning of this whole saga, the chaos was triggered on January 30th, 2017. At that point in time, Donald Trump indicated that only 109 people out of the 325 that were detained were actually held, for those entering the country were actually held. That number turned out to be a lie because on February 1st, we found out that 940 individuals had been stopped. Of the 940 that have been stopped, 392 of them are green card holders. Now, what makes green card holders specific means they've come to this country, they've gone through an extremely long vetting process. They were given resident alien status, meaning they're residents, they're not citizens, but they're residents of the United States. They can work here, they have a social security number.
For all intents and purposes, they are vetted.
Yes, completely vetted. Some of these people, they have homes, they got kids, they have families. I mean, for some time, on a personal note, both my mother and my father were both green card holders. My mother's now a citizen, but at one point in time when she came here initially, she was a green card holder. And so if she, if she was from one of those 7 countries as part of his Muslim ban, she would have been left not be allowed back in the country.
Yeah, which doesn't make any sense, I gotta tell you. I mean, this ban is problematic on so many levels. And I think the biggest flaw with it is Donald Trump's basic premise, which is what he's doing. He says this is gonna make the country safer. The bottom line is it's not, right? Okay, here's a good statistic to illustrate that. You are more likely to die from a snack machine falling on you than being killed by a terrorist on American soil.
Yeah, exactly. And what I don't want to do is sort of dismiss all the arguments about terrorism because we've seen in Europe the onslaught of terrorism. So I don't want to sort of throw those things to the wayside because I think that is a problem. But it's not a problem that we face here in the United States because our vetting process is so ridiculous to be a refugee.
It's like an 18-month process.
No, it's a 2-year process to be a refugee.
2 years. That's even more than 18 months.
And before we even vet you, the United Nations vets you. Then, after they vet you, then we vet you. And here's the thing: we're talking about real people. And I think we've got to. This president has made it he's trying to create a smokescreen for the American people, a straw man, one would argue. But let's take Iran, for example, one of the countries caught up in the president's Muslim ban. So in Iran, about 10,000 Iranians, just about 10,000, have green cards, which means they have been vetted and they can work in the United States. Many of these people work at Google, many of them work at Amazon.
Yeah.
They produce products that you use on a daily basis. Some of them are track stars. There's a Somali track star who lives in Seattle, who has finally been allowed back in, but wasn't allowed back in at the time. The rest are business travelers. They're doing business in the United States. They're helping grow America they're trying to make America great again. About 5,000 of them are actual students. And about the students, so I was in Detroit last weekend at a New Leaders Council fellows training. And one of the fellows was talking to me about a program that she's in. She's in law school. And her program is a program between Windsor University and I think the university, Mercy or some law school in Detroit. And basically it's a joint program, an international law program where you spend half of your time at Windsor and the other half of your time in Detroit. Now, a couple of the students that are in that program, they want to get a law degree, happen to be from Iran.
Right.
And basically, now they can't go to their classes in Canada.
Right.
Because they won't be allowed back in.
Right. I mean, that's how the thing works. If you have on your record, on your passport, that you are from Iran or you've been to Iran in the last couple of years,
you ain't getting in.
They're going to say, sorry. And let's also remember which countries conspicuously are absent from this ban.
Saudi Arabia, Qatar.
These are all countries where
Bahrain,
Donald Trump currently
Indonesia.
has business interests, which is highly
United
relevant.
Arab Emirates.
And let's also note that, for example, Saudi Arabia, there are terrorist attacks and terrorists in Saudi Arabia. It's not like it's insulated from the rest of the region.
Al Qaeda was sort of formed in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And I think what makes the story, what I want to say is this. Now, we're going to talk about the Ninth Circuit Court ruling in a second, but I think one thing that this ban has shown is that there's more that unites us as Americans than divide us. Right after this ban was triggered, thousands of people all across the country went to airports and began to raise their voices. In New York City, there was a bodega strike. And anybody knows anything about New York City, that's a big deal. All the Yemenis.
If anyone knows anything about bodegas,
they're everything.
That's a big deal.
If you don't know what a bodega is, well, Google it. But if you don't, I will give you a Cliff Notes version. They're basically everything stores.
Yeah.
They're corner stores, and a lot of times they're critical for the neighborhood, but they have everything you need randomly, right? So you can go to a bodega and you'd be like, whatever you need. I have a bodega across the street from my house.
It's like a CVS.
No, it's better than CVS.
But it's in terms of the wide selection of products that they would provide.
And my bodega even sells raw chicken wings. You can get raw chicken wings. You can get selected vegetables, but just the vegetables that you need. You can't get well, that's not true. I walked in there once and saw eggplant. So bodegas are...
It's a magical place.
It's a magical place. And a lot of them are owned by foreigners.
Yep.
And yet, so in New York, all the bodegas that were Yemen-owned went down. They closed for a couple of hours. And on top of that, even the cab drivers, who a lot of them are Muslim descent, they went on strike. And they said they will not pick up anybody at the airports because this is ridiculous. And I think the people are supporting them: black people, white people, yellow people. So Donald Trump has managed to bring people together in his crazy.